Hello and welcome to Nightmares of Future Past. I am your host, lluksblackheart. At the moment, joining me are the heroes Allstrike, Shiro, and Techno. Ren should be joining us shortly. They are running a wee bit late at the moment. The party was able to do fun shenanigans last episode, such as getting the elevator fixed, getting Shiro's bike fixed, getting a pet ant. They also discovered the uh, resumed hunting grounds of a blob and are currently going to be going on the hunt for this elusive but yet highly effective blob. So to easily start us out it wasn't too far away from Gotham Tower Apartments, where you guys know there is a large collective of people. Where exactly do you guys want to actually start your search for the blob?
We saw the blob take somebody off. Was it off the streets? If
The,
I'm
they were trying to flee a convenience store, and it snagged them on
oh,
their
okay.
way out. You guys were able to get in there and escaped with enough time not to get grabbed or anything, but you verified that there is a blob hunting in that area.
Okay.
So,
I'm trying to
last
make sure
sighting
I got my date straight.
was a convenience store not too far from the towers. Where do you guys want to
Okay.
start your search?
Well, one of the things I was thinking is how is it traveling without being on out in the open? And one of the things I was thinking it would be in the sewer system
Most likely.
or in the tunnels or the tunnels, um, maintenance tunnels that would have gone under the towers.
So,
Most likely the
where do you want to
sewers, and
start your
then go to it.
search?
Well, I mean, I personally would like to start in the tower's tunnel system where they have the power cables and all that to see if he is in there, and then work my way towards the any entrance from there into
So does the power underground power line stuff uh, aren't big enough for you guys to fit in, but there is sewer systems around there.
And the
okay.
sewer
Well,
system
yeah,
because when you guys had found it, it was in a bathroom,
The toilet was making
that's
bubbly
true.
sounds.
which suggests the sewer system. I don't know. I wasn't there. This was out of game, out of character.
So do you guys
Well,
go
first
to
thing,
the sewer system and start at the tower, or the one
well, that's
closer to
where.
the brain stopped working, the convenience store?
Well,
Um,
one of the things is I notify the captain what's going on, what we found so far,
You guys
and
did
tell
that
them that
last
we're
game.
going to hit. I did that last game.
Yep,
Okay. I thought we did, but I'm not sure. I was just
you did.
rethinking. Okay. So, okay. Sure. Do we want to look for the sewer system, like um, one of the sewer line things in the street and go down
yeah,
that way? That way we can, if we go into one that's in between the convenience store and
So you want to go at
uh,
a halfway
the house.
point between the convenience store and the apartments?
Yes.
We need to freeze it.
This is a very nice bike.
It's a pretty bike. Um, well,
Like,
unluckily for you guys don't have access to any cryo technology.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so I would like to go to the hardware store in the hospital, and I would like to go look for liquid nitrogen.
The hospital that
Is that a possible?
you verified that there was people at
Yep.
St. Luke's Hospital.
Yep.
Is anyone else going with him?
Um, that's one of, I mean, one of us should be trying to find the monster. I guess that would be me because I could use my sonar and everything underground.
So you want to
I
go
believe
to
a
the
blob would
sewers
be.
now while he goes and
Hmm.
gets the
Uh,
liquid nitrogen?
Yeah,
Shiro, are
that
you
way Shiro
going to
can
go with
I
All
don't
go with
think
Strike?
me.
that's a good. Um, I don't think it's a good idea, but we need to locate it anyways.
So you're going with All Strike?
Yeah.
Okay. The hospital is actually closer. So as you guys all can easily leave and take off flying, uh, Techno, you can easily get into the hospital. The security guard person does let you in, even though he seems a little bit mad that you lit part of the city on fire.
Yeah, he'll get over it.
Yeah, he's slowly getting over it. Uh, do you make any inquiries about their liquid nitrogen?
Yep. I'm assuming I'm talking to the doctor, or am I talking to security right now?
Doctor?
Cool. Hey, Doc, you don't happen to have a supply of liquid nitrogen anywhere in this hospital, do you?
Uh, for medical reasons, yes.
Cool. Can I procure it?
I don't really have a need for it at the moment, so I can let you take a couple
Uh,
canisters.
cool. So I'm gonna need whatever canisters you can give up.
Well, the hospital doesn't normally keep a huge supply of those, um, so I can give you 3, and they're not necessarily super huge
Nah.
canisters, but that's all I can really spare because the 4th one I would need for in case of emergency.
Yeah, that's totally fine. The 3 should. I will return whatever I don't use. I just, things are going on, and we kind of need them.
Well, as long as you're not going to try to, Doctor Freeze the city.
The city, no, a very peculiar monster that's been sighted again.
Ah, well, then I'll have the security guard have our spare one on standby just in case that monster decides to show up here. And I hope
Would
it's
be
going to be
very
enough.
wise. So it's a blob monster. So just if anything, open the canister and chuck it as fast as possible.
Uh, Blob monster.
Yes.
Here's wait here. Disappears for a little bit. comes back, uh, besides letting you still have the 3 canisters of fluid you want, he goes, here's this vial. Pick a location that's preferably not out in the open because it won't be very effective. So in an enclosed space like a sewer system, and break this there. That should help you find your blob. Now,
Appreciate that, Doc.
well, what did this is Gotham. We occasionally had to deal with blob-related incidents. Another thing is, this is a topical cream. We don't have a lot of it, mainly because this doesn't happen as often as people think it does. But it's still weird that we need this. If you manage to survive being attacked by it, and it doesn't immediately pull you into it and start consuming you, the acid burns. Put this cream on those acid burns. This will help you not. It will minimize scarring and help promote healing from those acid burns.
Appreciate
And
that
when you
too,
break
Doc.
that vial, don't get it on yourself or anyone else. Otherwise, the pheromones will be on that person.
Oh. Okay.
Uh, yeah. When I say we've unfortunately had to deal with a blob problem in the past, Joker is a real piece of work.
Yeah, I've heard some of the stories.
Yeah.
All right, Doc. I appreciate all the help. I'm going to go ahead and catch up to the rest of my team now, and then I'm going to radio over to them. Hey, guys, don't go in the sewer just yet. I'm on my way with plenty of toys.
Okay.
Well, by this time, you guys were going back to the two that kept flying past. Just by the time you guys hear from this, you guys were actually prepping to actually enter the sewer because the time it took him to get those things and have that talk, you guys saying you could get there, find a sewer entrance, open it up to that side of looking in because it doesn't smell very good because, well, stuff's been marinating down there. And then as you guys started your climb in, that's when you got the call to pretty much stop, wait, I'm on my way with fun stuff. Which means you both have the decision to either A, wait, or B, not wait and go in.
Wait.
Wait. Now, can I use my sonar in the sewer from here to see if it's down near where I'm at?
Depending on what shape the blob is taking up, there's a very good chance the radar will just recognize it as a surface, not a creature.
Okay. That's
So
what I wanted to know.
Shape things. If it was like filling it up, it will go, hey, look, there's a wall approaching us. You would go, that's not right. That's definitely the blob. But if it's just spread out and cruising along, there's a very good chance that the radar won't actually properly pick it up because it's not actually bouncing off or hitting anything.
Yeah.
Not to mention the fact that blobs are technically quite absorbent when it comes to things like that. So there is a slight diminishing factor of stuff not actively bouncing directly off of it.
Yeah, and radar is probably going to be not any better in the sense of anything underground.
Yeah. But since you
I'm
guys
not going to turn on the sonar.
It doesn't take Techno very long to jetpack his way over there. Mainly because it's real easy to look for the two guys waiting by the sewer entrance. He's able to land. And what do you tell them that you got?
I have a cream in case we get attacked. I've got 3 canisters of liquid nitrogen, and I've got a pheromone to attract it.
Oh. Well, that's good. Um, okay. You said you got three. How are we going to use the liquid nitrogen? Do
Wait,
we
wait,
have?
wait, wait, wait. I got an idea. What if we cracked the pheromones over the ant nest?
Over the what?
Uh, the pheromones will take some time to actually go over, and where you guys are currently at versus where the ant nest is, there's the Finger River that the blob would have to cross in order to get there.
Oh, okay. Dang.
And because of the problem with the sewer system, there's a chance that the pheromones won't even actually reach it, mainly because you would be hitting it at the ant nest and not that. Which doesn't mean it's not a bad idea to have the blob fight the ants, because one of those two problems are going to be taken care of.
Yeah.
Right.
But since you guys do know that the ants have been quite, because one of the reasons the ants are in the state they are now is because they were rapidly adapting to environmental stimuli to better defend against those stimuli.
Okay.
Just when the National
Um,
Guard and police started fighting them with other minor heroes, they started to get tougher. They developed ability to heal each other, ranged units, flying units, massive tank units, massive flying tank units. So you could accidentally have them rapidly develop a highly acid resistant to acid immune ants that probably
Yeah.
would become efficient in dealing with extreme uh, organic materials that don't have any sort of hardened shells. Like, for instance, a chemical that actually will work on a blob, which, because a blob is it's pretty much a big acid-eating organism. Anything that can eat the outperform the blob is something you don't want to fight. On the other
Yeah.
hand, if the blob wins, the blob's going to get significantly larger because of all the biomass it will then be able to have access to consume, which will make defeating it
much harder.
that much harder. It's like you don't have enough of your liquid nitrogen if you do that. You would have to hope the ants that are sticking to their own neighborhood win at that point. But you guys do have 3 canisters, which may not be super large canisters because they're about 50% larger than a fire hydrant, a fire extinguisher. So they are quite big. Uh, Deploying it would probably be your biggest problem because you'd either have to set it down and then hit it with a range attack to puncture it, causing it to rapidly expel its interior, uh, and or very carefully, very rapidly with a strong strike, hit the top so that way you can actually, for the brief moment, it's rapidly expelling everything in that direction. Hold on for dear life
So,
as it propels its stuff out.
so out of curiosity, these containers are metal, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
Cool. If we just throw it into the blob, it'll deteriorate it.
Technically, that works too because it has showed signs of not necessarily consuming metallic things, but eating holes into it to get at what possibly could be the inside. So you could technically quite easily trick it into consuming the canisters and then wait X amount of time for them to eat through the canisters so that way it will then start to freeze from the inside out. So you may have inadvertently made this a lot easier than I expected.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
But how long will it take it to dissolve it? That's the next question.
Blobs are usually mindless creatures that will pretty much start tickling anything.
The length
Well,
could be a few minutes to a few hours,
okay.
so it is a waiting
Now, if we,
game.
yeah, okay. Um, that's why I was thinking we do it and then put the pheromones on the canisters. That way, it will be attracted to the canisters in that sense. And I was thinking, uh,
I mean, we can always just throw the pheromone down, wait for it to pop up, throw the canisters at it, and then we
yeah,
can just shoot the canisters while they're inside of it. If we want to really make this go rapidly.
yeah. Well, we just don't want to, we want it I don't know if we can shoot into, if we can shoot into it or blast it with with our weapons uh, uh, to explode them, like you said, inside. Now, you said these are about the size of
They're about
like,
50% larger than a fire extinguisher.
okay. If we go to the hardware store, are we going to be able to find fire extinguishers so we can have extra? Because a fire extinguisher also, if it's the ones that shoot out, have some type
High
of
red.
Not all
liquid
fire.
nitrogen.
No, that is not entirely true. Most fire extinguishers don't use liquid nitrogen.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
That's not. I
the
was thinking
fire
of something else.
extinguishers, the stuff they use can be technically described as cold, but it's not actually truly a freezing effect. It's a more of a chemical effect they're spraying on it. That's one of the reasons why, if you're being sprayed by one, you have to be careful on covering your face because it can cause eye problems and breathing problems.
Right.
Most A good portion of fire extinguishers use carbon dioxide. They sap the oxygen. The foam and whatnot saps the oxygen out
Yeah.
of the air.
uh, which it's not as a bad idea. It says it won't work.
Right. No, I was just trying to think of a way of you know using seeing if we can find other
uh,
ways of getting
Short of
in
a
there
short
just
of
in
a
case. Huh?
short of a freeze ray, we have the next best thing with liquid nitrogen.
Sure.
Or
And
dirt.
too bad we can't find a nitrogen factory or a supplier that may have liquid nitrogen on hand that we can use
well,
a nitrogen
they don't
truck
have
and
those in Gotham.
Did
I'm saying
anybody
I
try
don't know if
dirt?
there is anything like that.
Did
I
anyone
know there's
try
supply
what
houses.
Dirt.
to try to fight
The
to try to
blob.
defeat the blob?
Oh, I don't know anything about the blob.
That's what the party is currently currently plotting to fight. Because they found it's been eating people.
Uh,
And right now it's only it's pretty close to the Gotham Towers where we found that group of
Survivors.
survivors. Uh, no, the only thing we can do is go in and try to do that plan right. See if we can. That will uh, do it right off. Only thing is, I wonder if any piece like in the Blob movies, if a small piece got on somebody, it would start devouring it, devouring the piece, and get bigger and bigger and bigger. We would have to make sure that we got every bit of it before, to make sure we got every bit of it. How long will liquid nitrogen, the coldness, last with the creature?
As
You're
long
not
as there is
sure.
liquid, it is cold.
Yeah,
I don't understand. It's cold, but how long will it keep it frozen?
As long as there is liquid, it is cold. That is how liquid nitrogen works. As long as the liquid is present, it is cold.
Right, and you are
the
limited
length of
supply of
actual
it.
time is mainly dependent on how quickly the environment would heat it, which is undetermined because it will, unless you guys do it out in the open. If you manage to get it in the sewers, it should maintain its cold temperature because Gotham sewers aren't known for being hot unless you're in certain areas.
Right.
So it should stay frozen for quite some time. It depends on the metabolism of the blob, but there's a very good chance that it will stay in a frozen state for a pretty long time unless something happens environmentally to heat it up. Then you also have to fight the counteracted properties of how long it takes for the nitrogen to actually dissipate. And if it's inside the blob, then that means it's going to stay there relatively for a very long time. Because the blob will create a self-sealing, it's pretty much its own self-sealing canister. So technically speaking, as long as there's no nitrogen leakage, it shouldn't be a problem, which will give you guys plenty enough time to then figure out where you're going to get lots and lots of easily sealed glass detainers to then shove parts of the blob in that you break up so you guys can have a warehouse full of blob.
Okay. I gotta take this real quick.
Okay, you went real quiet for a moment. So, do you guys initiate the lowering in the sewer or on the street?
In the sewer. The doctor mentioned that the pheromone is not effective in open air.
Yeah. Do you just throw it in the distance and let it crack on the ground, or do you set up the canisters and then break it the vial on the canister so that way it shows up and then eats them?
Could I potentially rig these with a detonator?
It if you I can technically permit it if you run to the hardware store, grab the improvised things to make an improvised detonation device, to then pass it tech check to have a temporarily detonation device, so that way you could.
I don't necessarily want it to. I don't necessarily want it to detonate. I want it. I want to make like a but more so a device to puncture.
Yeah, you want to create a breaching device, which is going to
Yes.
be easier than making an actual explosive, but you need to run to the hardware store to get the parts you need.
That is fine with me. Shiro, would you or yes, Shiro. Would you accompany me to the hardware store to grab the things I need?
Yes.
You
Right.
guys can easily fly to the hardware store because there's not one too far away. You can easily get in, and because you know technically what you're looking for, and it's also Gotham, so they have some really weird stuff in their hardware stores. You can technically. Do you want to get enough to puncture all three or just one?
I want to basically make a nail bomb that'll shoot nails in all directions to multiple puncture all three of them. My idea is to basically tape these three together and then rig the bomb in between them, so when I hit the detonator, it'll shoot off.
It drives the big strong nails directly into the sides, puncturing them, causing
Correct.
instant freezage.
Correct.
Doesn't take you very long to find the appropriate adhesives and uh, things that can be used to actually launch the nails, because again, it's Gotham, they have weird stuff. It's like no wonder they have criminals here. Their criminals have access to everything they need to technically have all the resources to make stuff. And you don't have to buy it because it's technically free right now. Don't you love apocalyptic events?
Fair discount all around.
Uh, and you still technically have to make this die roll, but you also have a plus 20 to this die roll. So can you please make that tech check? Since you're going to pass this check.
Techno no longer. I'm doing this on my iPad today instead of my phone.
I'm no rush. Ren is having a food-related problem at the moment, so she'll be back shortly. And I don't know why All Strike up and went quiet, and then
38.
bounced. Okay.
I don't know. I can't find the plus sign, so 38.
Yeah. 38. It takes you approximately like a half hour to jury rig this all together. Uh, at which point you can then return to the sewer. Uh, do you enter in the sewer? Uh, Now, do you go towards the apartment complex or towards the corner store?
Shiro, what are you thinking? Closer to the corner store or closer to the apartment, the towers?
I think we should try to draw it away from the towers.
So head back towards the convenience store where you found it.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll head that way.
They So that way you're practically underneath the convenience store or just really close to it.
Really close to it. I'd rather not be underneath the convenience store where they spotted it.
Okay. As you guys are going, and everyone's favorite telepath is here, all three of you are getting a perception check. Ren, you do have a 12. Everyone's favorite techie has a 10. And Shuro does have a 13. So you guys should have a very, very good chance of actually noticing this. Okay, you definitely notice. You definitely notice. Okay, I saw her typing for a moment. There we go. Okay, as you guys get in there, boom. After about like 30 seconds of walking, you guys can realize several things. One, you're not getting an overwhelming sewer smell. Two, the tunnel seems oddly, specifically, really, really clean. The only real things you can see are the cleaned brick, because just about all of the sewer system is brick, and some well polished metal piping that because don't ask me why they have over large amounts of piping in their sewer system, but like everything seems like really polished and super clean. Uh, there's no water flow, and the smell is more of a aesthetic cleaning chemical like smell.
This blob isn't so bad.
Yeah, but as you're walking
Ate in
towards
the
the store,
sewers.
like towards the store, it's like I said, it's not that it's getting cleaner and cleaner and cleaner. It says super clean, implying that I'm hinting at something.
Yeah, I'm gonna just have everybody kind of back up quite a bit. Uh, I'm gonna go back to the edge of where we noticed how clean it was, and start setting up the canisters and the bomb.
You get back to where you entered in the sewer, and that's where it hits you. The clean not only is in the direction of where the corn store is, but you can notice it's also in the direction going towards the apartment building.
Oh crap!
Fuck.
Heavily implying that the slime has already passed through here.
Uh, Ren, Shiro, should we chase it or try to head to the towers and go down from there?
We got the pheromone thing, right?
Yeah, but I don't know how far it is.
That's true.
Jacob, about how far is it from the convenience store to the towers in the sewer system?
If you're walking, about a 45-minute walk. So it's not it's close, but it's not super close.
All right, I'm going to head down towards. I'm going to head down in the sewer with the canisters and the pheromone. I'm going to try to get closer to it. Do you and Ren want to try to head to the towers and see if you can get some of the people out of there and
Yeah.
to safety?
So the duo can easily, because you guys have access to flying, can fly out of the sewers, start heading towards the apartments because you know it there. Um, where you head down the sewer system. After a brief moment, because you guys fly faster than you can walk, so 45 minutes flying is, 45-minute walk is nothing for your flight speed because you also don't have to adhere to a lot of the normal buildings and stuff. Techno, as you're going, presumably with a light source, correct?
Yep.
Yeah. You're going at. You're able to stop just in time, as you can see a moving wall that's moving away from you.
So I'm going to break the pheromone
Looks
on the
like an
canisters.
actual wall.
I'm going to break the pheromone on the canisters, and hopefully the bomb is already set in between them.
Yeah, well, all you have to do is press the button, set it down, smash, and then
Cool. Cool. So I'm gonna set it down, smash, bolt, press, and then take off.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna watch and see it, make sure the blob turns around and starts coming back.
Just like you can set it up, you smash it, and as you turn it away, you notice the moving wall that's moving away pretty much almost abruptly stops, and then rapidly starts moving. By rapidly, it has the appearance of not a slow moving blob that it can easily catch up with Usain Bolt type speed.
Okay, well that's terrifying.
It's able to hit the chemical thing, and it pretty much just says soup in. As in, you see the blobs no longer looking more like a wall; it's looking more like this purplish, pinkish, red color, as it's now chasing you down the sewers.
I'm gonna detonate the bomb.
Yeah. As you detonate it, you can hear boom. And right as the bomb gets you, because you notice it's actually picking up speed, mainly because it has a lot of sewer to latch onto to help propel it, because it's back to just one big muscle. You can see it just starts to freeze, and right before it gets you, it fully freezes. As you can see, the part that almost got to you took the shape of a mouth full of teeth.
That's fucking terrifying.
Yes, it
Just
is.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and radio to the other three. Hey, I caught it. It's popsicle. Y'all mind stopping and grabbing some containers?
Yeah, I'll look to see if I can find a refrigerated truck that can help keep it frozen.
Yeah.
Well,
If we have it
finding
in glass containers, it really doesn't matter.
Hmm?
yeah, when it comes to the truck, finding a truck isn't the problem. Finding one in a working order is. What you want to do
Okay.
is find sealable glass detainers.
Sealable glass. Pre-
Detainers.
okay.
Like mason
Think
jars.
giant mason jars.
I was gonna say, yeah, the big
Yeah.
pickled egg type containers, that
Yeah, as long
size.
as the lid is made out of glass as well, it's going to survive as long as you're able to make sure there's enough pressure to keep the lid on. So pretty much big mason jars, boom.
Yeah.
Because you guys don't have to wait in lines, don't have to pay for it, and mason jars aren't on the top of a survivalist list of things to get, because if they do, they don't get very many of them. And you guys pretty much have access to all of the different stores throughout Gotham. You guys can either choose to, as while Techno monitors the frozen blob, you can either you three spread up because you can all fly, to gather as many jars as you can, or you guys can all just simultaneously go to one location, get as much as you can, and just keep repeating that, so that way then Techno can start breaking pieces off the blob, put in jars.
If I can, also try to grab some small ones. I may have an idea.
Well, unfortunately, they're gonna have to get ones of all sorts of sizes. Big ones,
Perfect.
little ones. It's what they want versus what they have. And
Totally fine as long.
uh, just with you guys flying, it is going to take you quite some time to not only acquire the jars. No.
Oh, you fucking tell me no. I'm doing it.
You're a villain if you do that. I'm letting you right now. That's
Oh,
evil right there.
why me? Oh, that's not fair.
Well, I'm saying you. Well, technically, by that statement, you can do it. It's just expect to be called the bad guy when you do it.
Hey,
Um, the
solve a lot of
overall
problems.
huge catch-22, this is not necessarily finding stores that have the jars you need isn't the big problem. This Gotham has a bunch of them. The amount of jars isn't necessarily the overall problem, because again, there's a lot of jars and a lot of stores to get those jars, and you're not competing with anyone else. You can even technically clean out a bunch of the candle jars, because there's mason jars that have candles in them, so you can technically back at you.
Yeah.
So you can technically clean out those to do it. The big problem is time, because it takes you guys 4 days just in jarring to collect this blob. To a point where you technically almost run out of jars because of just how massive the blob is. You've even had to do very careful pulling because it appeared that as it was starting to freeze, it was trying to escape through smaller of the pipe tunnels. So you had to very carefully, without breaking any parts, pull frozen blob parts out of small pipings.
Okay, we're putting this all in small jars. It's
Well,
frozen,
not necessarily
so
super
that
small
means we
jars,
got
but
to
any jars you guys can find that are mason jars, which means as long as someone doesn't break and or open the jar, it thawing is no
Oh,
longer
okay.
the
You're talking about
problem because it's sealed in the
okay.
jar.
Okay, so breaking the blob into smaller pieces to fit into jars.
That's what you guys
It's
have to
not
do
gonna.
anyways, and it's not going to be a problem.
Okay,
Um,
that's why I was asking. I wanted to make sure that we don't break the thing and it shatters
uh,
into thousands of
the
pieces.
only real disturbing thing you guys found is it does have evidence that it was digesting things. So several of the things you had to put partially blob eaten but covered parts in. Does it look like there may have
Hmm.
been a few things hiding in the sewers that weren't able to get away from the blob?
Okay.
Uh, but like I said,
Is there?
just in that time you
Okay.
guys have the blob, and technically, thanks to the abandoned Coast Guard base, you technically have a hangar to hide the jars in, as long as no hurricanes sweep over to damage the jars. You guys technically have a secure spot to keep the blob.
Could I work on building a secure room in the Coast Guard's in the hangar to store the blob?
To make sure it's a hurricane proof and possibly have some better locks just in case someone decides to sneak in to see what you guys are doing.
Defense system, so that way I'm the only one who can enter it for the time being.
Defend the blobs. Uh, I will permit it. It's just a time oriented thing. But you can start working on your blob secured zone. So you guys do officially, technically, through your ingenuity, have captured a blob.
So like to as a security protocol for that room, install uh basically nitrogen, liquid nitrogen in the air vents.
Once you're able
Blah.
to successfully get more liquid nitrogen, I will permit it.
Great.
So your main hurdle right now is the nitrogen.
Not a problem.
You guys resolved that somewhat quicker than what I thought you guys would.
Said we had a well. We talked about freezing it, and hospitals have liquid nitrogen.
Yeah, but you proved to be smarter than the fifth grader. Uh, and then coming up with the plan to have a detonation device so that way once it eats it, you can guarantee it starts to freeze from the inside out. Uh,
No, am I kidding? I chew crayons.
but like I said, you have a bundle of jars full of blob. Small jars, large jars. Some jars with more innate. A thing you can notice that the jars containing blobs coming from the outer perimeter of the blob. By the time you start storing them, actually probably storing them in the hangar, those ones start becoming, even though they're stiff, they start actually show signs of movement.
Okay.
Mainly because the liquid nitrogen is no longer affecting it, and it's starting to actually wear off. But it's also now trapped in jars, so you don't even have to worry about it. And because of how mason jars are technically designed, they're not easy to break.
No, they're not.
That's pretty thick glass, so they're pretty secure right now. So it's more
Yeah.
about outside influences affecting them, not internal influences.
Okay. And if all else fails, we can try to put them in a refrigerator. You're gonna to slow down
Well, once you get access to
their
the
motion.
refrigerator unit.
Okay.
Uh,
Does the heating and AC unit work in the
no.
big building that we're doing the hangar?
The
Okay.
the abandoned, well, the pretty much completely scuttled and abandoned, left, retired Coast Guard station doesn't have anything that you could possibly use to keep it frozen, other than there's a hangar to store it in, and just working on the hangar to keep the temp to self seal everything.
Okay.
Um, do you return to St. Luke's Hospital to inform them that you guys have successfully defeated the blob?
That would probably be a good idea. And also find out if they have heard or found or learned about any other humans that have survived in large groups or anything, because the hospital will be the one that may hear that
Uh,
as a
well, they haven't
very
been getting
thing
any
of interest.
traffic anytime recently. The people they have there are the outside of the party. They haven't actually been in contact with anyone else. And on a certain message note, Ren, do you start looking for those? Uh, do you start looking for those clinics? Um, do you get the rest of the party involved in this? Okay, the almighty impressive Ren, to help the party contain and possibly get the supplies needed to better contain these things, the party can either go as a group or divide and conquer to locate and raid as many fertility clinics as possible, because they do have liquid nitrogen and cryogen containers.
Yes.
And technically everything that Techno would need to uh, do his best to turn that hangar into a giant freezer.
Going to stay at the hangar and work on building the room to store the blob.
So you don't want to raid the to get the proper tech the uh, they can
No, because the
technically
room
get
still isn't built yet. And you said that was a time thing.
yeah.
So any free time I'm probably gonna be working on that.
Well, we can, you
Because getting
know,
the
search for the
additional
different.
liquid nitrogen from the clinics, not the problem, because Gotham actually has quite a bit of those clinics. Quite a bit. Uh, Not to mention the fact that the only thing actually missing out of those places would be actual like medical supplies, not necessarily what you guys want. And you can easily
There's a lot.
find containers for cryogen containers because they do use those a lot. And once you guys get figure out how to start to remove stuff, they do technically have cold storage rooms, which means the party members with a high enough degree of tech sec, can start dismantling stuff to then get that stuff to the hangar, so that way the hangar, or at least parts of the hangar, can be put to a colder temperature than everything else once the hangar has been properly technically sealed.
Okay. Sounds good.
Well, those are the transfer containers. I do know they do have containers that require an energy source to maintain their level of coldness. They do also utilize the liquid nitrogen to help keep them cold.
Mm-hmm.
Pair that with the cold storage rooms, they can keep stuff cold for a very, very, very long time. So your entire
Oh
idea
yeah.
is going to work because you guys can definitely. It's going to take you time to properly transfer it all. Within a few days of raiding several of the clinics, you can get a. I can easily say about another 20 of the canisters easily without trying to actually verify how many a place like that would actually keep and stuff like that, but easily 20 of them, not counting the transfer containers. So if you want to keep something cold while transferring it, you can get a bunch of those. On top of, as long as you can get a power source, they do actually have like I said, they do have containers that you can, as long as they have a mixture of power and cryo in it, they can keep whatever and it's cold. So if you want to definitely deep freeze parts of it, you technically, once those get there, you can. And once the place is technically more airtight, which tech can easily do because it's maybe an abandoned warehouse, but it's not riddled with holes or anything. As long as someone's at the hangar, he can then go and steal the AC stuff. Because they do have, like I said, in their cold storage rooms, they do have really efficient cooling systems where he can start taking those and jury rig something to keep the interior of the hangar low enough to, at minimum, put the blob in a very lethargic, slow moving state. That, and he can also start to remove any sort of thing that could be an easy escape route for the blob. Are you going to request that they get they try to get as big slabs of glasses from the building supply stores, so that way you can have walls of glass?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, I will.
Yeah, I was gonna say that we can
Yeah.
see if we can find the
So,
large thing of grass.
yeah, this
Yeah.
men with her telekinesis can start easily transporting a lot of the glass. So I would say about 3 weeks of you guys going back and forth doing everything. You don't have the best containment system, but you have a functional containment system. A decent working AC system to keep everything cold, which will help stop them from trying to escape. You can technically also get say everything to keep it cold, pretty much airtight. You can technically get makeshift contamination airlocks, so that way people coming in and out can be hit with things that pretty much a clean room entrance. But you have a functional containment unit in one of the hangars to secure and protect the blob. And by this time, as you guys are done doing all this stuff, because Techno is a whiz at this stuff, and periodically Captain Stewart does show up to help because his day job is an architect. So he can actually tell you how things are supposed to go to make sure it stays properly. No, that was not planned. You guys just got real lucky in having an NPC that's an architect. But Techno, one of the things you're able to notice about some of these smaller pieces of blobs is some of them aren't staying in a blob form. They seem to be trying to take, even though they're still slow moving and not reacting very fast because well, cold temperature and stuff, they appear to be taking shapes of various creatures.
Interesting.
Like, you swear some of them look like rats. A few, you swear, look like weird leeches. One of them in the bigger chart looks like it's taking the form of a head. Some are very in the form of various small body parts like hands, feet. Like, the parts are trying to not just be a weird pulsating blob, but they're trying to take a form of something. With the largest ones and some of the really big jars are the only ones appearing to stay in a more blobish shape. And whenever any of you guys are walking anywhere near them, you have the feeling you're being watched. Like,
Okay.
not by just like a single person, but like you feel hundreds of eyes staring into your soul.
Are these shapes in that actually taking the same type of physical form that like the rats? It looks like a rat, not just a
It
pinkish
doesn't have hair or coloration, but the shape is a rat. So if you're,
Okay.
it's like, okay, we just like put pigment on the skin and throw hair on it, it's a rat. So hairless rats. So it actually looks like they're taking either shapes of relatively small creatures or body parts. But there's no pigment, no coloration, it's just shapes. With the exception of the really big ones that seem to be just in the blob form. Indicating that there may be something more going on with this blob. Dun dun dun. But keeping the place at a really, really, really cold temperature is negatively affecting them in the fact that, again, they're very lethargic, not very reactive to anything. Some of the smaller ones, even though they take shapes, seem to be almost statuesque, as in you don't see any form of actual movement out of it except for occasional slight twitch, but it's still they're maintaining a almost perfect stillness. implying that they don't have enough mass to maintain enough temperature to properly counteract the temperature of the room.
Okay. Well, one of the questions I was, oh well, I'll ask it later.
Yeah. At this point, do you guys decide to check around Gotham to see if you can get lucky and find any other locations where there could possibly be people?
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. If during our search of places, did we come across any any survivors or any areas that we would notice that might have survivors?
Not when you were
Um,
looking for supplies, because you're going after specific buildings and areas.
I just wanted to know if it was something random that would happen.
Because the different districts have different things in them. But now would be the time if you guys want to start looking to see if there's any other possible locations that may or may not have people. You also have to decide if you're going to go as a group or separate and spread throughout the city to decrease search time. The search time to see if you can find any particular individuals. Because the only locations you guys know about is Gotham Tower Apartments and
do we not
St. Luke's
do we
Hospital.
know do we know the status of Gotham Tower Apartments? I mean,
There's
we were
people in
supposed
it.
to get back, and I know there's people in it. What I'm saying is, did during a course of time, did we go back and during the stuff that we were doing, did the NPCs go back and take them food or anything like that?
If they
Because
did,
we
you're not 100% sure.
okay,
So like
In
he was saying is with there's people in it is that we don't know shit.
Yeah, it's the information on whether or not they were able to get any sort of food, water, medicine, or anything like that. You are unaware of any of that. You would have to go
okay.
for and go to the departments and talk to them about their food situation and water situation, medicine, and all that.
Um, is the I talked to. We're still at the base. I'm assuming.
We haven't
I
officially
talked
left to do the
to
search yet, so yes.
I talked to the captain, find out if he has come up with um, any ways of so we can like once we find a group that we can give them some type of communication device to talk back
He has no
to
spare
us.
communications equipment.
You did what?
He has no spare communications equipment.
Okay. I just wanted to ask because I feel bad that we haven't been back in a long enough any length of time
Like I said, you
to
could either go back and check on them or search Gotham for any other locations that could possibly have people at them.
okay.
And if you are going and searching the city, are you guys going as a group or are you spreading out as individuals so therefore you're decreasing the search time?
So a
I will
lot
be.
I
I
would
will
like
stay at the
I would
base
like okay.
just so I can work on some of the projects that I've been working on that I have started.
Okay.
Okay. That's not
So, All Strike, are you going to search the city? Yes or no?
I wanted to first go and check on the people at Gotham Tower
Okay, you're going to the
to make
tower.
sure that.
Uh,
Yeah,
Ren, are you going to stay at base to possibly help Techno with anything? Go with all strike, or start searching the city for any more holdouts. She's typing. Okay. Shiro, hanging out with Techno, going with all strike, going with Ren, or searching the city.
Searching the city.
Okay. The two that are searching the city, can you please roll me your perception checks, which is Ren with a 12, Shuro with a 13. So you guys spread out and boom. Oh well, that's near perfect. For working on your projects, Techno, can you roll me your tech check, please? What are you doing, character shape? Did you really just do that to me? Okay. All strike when you get to the uh,
is
location.
there? Do we? Okay, I wanted before I leave. I want to see if there's any supplies that we can spare to give to those people if I find out they're still okay.
Uh, no. If you want to take
Okay,
any of the supplies here, Captain Sewer will simply just look at you and go, unless you want to put yourself on extreme rations, no.
that's fine. I just wanted to ask.
We currently do not have anything to spare. But to get there and properly interact with the individuals, you need to roll a d20 with a +4. And I love seeing that number, Techno, because even though you rolled a 4, you got a 24. Okay. After some time, all strike you because they're not hostile towards you. They're just not necessarily friendly. The people at Gotham Tower, you're able to figure out that there's definitely over 100. They're still not being exactly open about how many of them there are, other than over 100. Their food and water is still running low, mainly because there's not much food for them to raid in the area. Um, and their main water source is coming from rainwater. They have no power, and they're running low on meds.
Okay.
Techno, you're able to get a bunch of your side projects little bit closer to being complete, including a very happy ant, which you can note at this particular point when you go to your quarters to rest and clean up. It is no longer this cute little larva, but this 7-inch long ant.
Oh, that's right. Ren wasn't present for
No, she wasn't.
for that side
And her
project.
character is technically
She
not
wasn't
fully
pregnant.
aware
Yeah.
about that side project. So it is growing at a very high rate. You can also tell that besides the fact that it's not necessarily being hostile towards uh, you because it's like, you're the thing feeding me. You're not trying to eat me. Therefore, you're not prey. You are able to notice that it has a very, I want to say, intimidating look about it. Like it, for some reason, looks a wee bit meaner. than the ones you took it from.
And that's interesting.
Um,
Can I look in my biology book and see if there's anything in there about a variation of this particular species?
uh, it's ant hierarchy. Um, there's real no variations. Maybe based on a location, site, size, and coloration to denote the specific kind of honeypot ant. The thing you can notice that when you're like looking at some of the more intimidating features is its coloration, and for the most part, it's definitely a honeypot ant. You would probably guess that it's probably a member of the warrior caste, but some parts about how its mandibles are positioned, as you can skim through the book, are reminiscent of bullet ants.
Oh my god, are they breeding? Did I get a
Either
hybrid?
Yeah, either the ants aren't a single species of ant, but they're showing traits from multiple species of ants, or that hive of honeypot ants has somehow intermingled with bullet ants, which you would know would be impossible because the bullet ants would kill and eat the honeypots. But its
Yeah, we've
mandible
created a
shapes,
monster.
boom, definitely make you go, if I didn't know better, just off of how its face is looking, I would say that's some sort of bullet ant.
I always say
Which
love
means
finds way.
it's most likely going to possibly get either bigger, or if it decides once it actually gets to the size of the honeypots you did fight, that it's gonna have the mandibles capable of making your shields kind of sweat a bit.
I mean, it's not aggressive, so I'm my prayer is that in raising it and kind of taming it, it's not going to be an asshole.
You desperately, desperately hope.
I'm gonna inform Ren about this since she doesn't know over the comms.
You would have to mentally project to her, so because she uses mental telepathy to communicate with the party.
Right, I will mentally project this to her.
What exactly do you tell her besides, "Hey, I have a giant ant growing in my room. Be nice."
Look at our new pet.
Uh, do you inform her that it's supposed to be a honeypot?
Uh huh.
Do you then also tell her that it may be a hybrid honeypot between a honeypots and a bullet ant?
I really don't want to, but I am.
Okay, what is she typing? What is she typing? She has a point. You could go to the fertility clinic, roll the check for gene sequencing to see what's up with the ant, or she can technically snag one from there for you.
Yeah, would you mind grabbing one? It'd be nice to have that on hand.
Sure,
I've
she's
been creating a lab.
out. Okay, as you start to divert though, because you got high enough on your check, Almighty Ren, there's a decent sized building called Ellsworth Building. Uh, Between you rolling high on your perception check and your ability to pick up mines, you can pick up that there is a decent population size of a holdout inside that building. You can either mark it down and go get the gene sequencer, or you can check out the building and see what's up with the people there. Bless you.
Thank you.
She is typing, people. Upgrades, people, upgrades. Okay. So I can mark Ellsworth building as found. Shiro, as you are searching, you can locate on a building the Von Gerwald Tower. You can find evidence of people. Do you investigate? Did you hear me, Shiro?
What was that?
The Von Gerwald Tower. You've as you're passing by it, you find evidence that there could possibly be people holed up in there. Do you investigate?
Yes.
You can in fact find that there is a small group of people. They seem extremely sick, malnourished, and don't look like they can put up much of a fight.
Oh, that's not good.
Yep. A bunch of them look like they have chemical burns.
You escaped the slime, didn't you?
Yeah, it came in the night and tried to eat us.
We defeated it. Don't worry about that.
Great.
We can take you to the hospital and see about you getting treated and fed.
Great. So do you run to the hospital, which actually is conveniently not that far away? Well, it's decently far away, but the St. Luke's Hospital is still right by same general district. So do you
Yeah.
start rushing people there while telling them that you have survivors from where you found a holdout that was in the past attacked by the slime?
Yeah.
Okay, well, you're getting points there. I can mark that. Found. And moved to... Boom. Because you're the one transporting them, you saved 34 people. You should feel happy about that. At this point, because you're doing that, Almighty All Strike. Do you A, see what's happening with everyone else, or B, attempt to search the city for another holdout?
Well, I will try to contact them while searching the city.
Okay.
Let's see.
Who do you message?
I first go to Ren to talk to her first to see how she's doing, and then I
Ask
go
your
and
questions.
Do what? I'm
Ask
sorry.
your whatever you're gonna ask her. Ask.
I asked her. Any? Have you had any luck locating people?
Give her a moment to type.
Or she doesn't have audio.
Not at the moment. But there's a chat option for whenever you're in a voice chat. There is a text chat thing. Um, I'll be able to relay it to you if you can't find it. But she is typing at the moment.
Yeah. Okay.
She's typing away.
I see things flash across my screen. How you doing? But I never am able to catch it. So.
Okay, she said, I found 20 survivors at Elwood. It's not the building I said.
Get your finger.
Ellswood building. So it's not Maynard's building. She has the location marked, and she's bringing a gene sequencer to Techno for his lab. Will return
Okay.
intact.
All right. Well, then I call Shiro and see how he's doing.
Well, ask your question. Well, ask your question too, Shiro. Ask a question.
Shiro, did you have any luck finding anybody?
Yeah, they're malnourished and they have chemical burns on them from the slime.
Oh, okay. So they ran into the blob.
Yeah.
Okay. You said how many did you take to the hospital? You said something about that.
I'm not exactly sure. What was the number?
34.
I think 34. I wrote down 30. So okay. Well, I'm going to continue searching. If you need any more help, let me know. I'm going to go ahead and start scanning my sector of the city to see. You're welcome. If I can find any more survivors. The people at Gotham Towers, I'll let them know that we are working on trying to get stuff accomplished throughout the city. We did kill the thing that was not killed, but capture the thing that the
They'll appreciate the
thing
capturing of the blob.
yeah.
The
So
blob.
and right now I'm gonna go search out in my sector to see one if I can see if there's any other survivors, but I also want to see if I can see any other things that may be useful to be passed on to you and your group.
That's in the wrong area. That's in the wrong area. Okay, just you're searching that area. Even though it's going to be slim, roll me a percent. Well, percent. Roll me a perception. You do have.
Okay.
It is a +5, but you don't have a 0% chance. You have a chance. Okay, 16.
Roll the. Mm-hmm.
In that area, because that's where I started the search. The only buildings that you could possibly say would have any sort of use, there is the straight across the river. There is the Gotham Academy, which is right next to Gotham University, but there's no one there. If you want to risk getting to being chased by ants, you can go to Gotham General Hospital because it's right next to the Robinson Park.
Is that the different hospital that we already know
It's
about?
a different hospital.
Okay.
It's a hospital you guys
Um,
haven't gone through yet because there's a chance you're going to get attacked by ants. But if you go into it, because it's literally right at the park.
Okay. You said there was a building. Oh, you said that the got
Gotham
the building that
Academy, which was right next to Gotham
and
University, and there's no
university.
one. You can't find any signs of people there.
Okay.
So you can either risk the hospital, because there's a high chance you're getting attacked by ants there, because again, the ants is right there.
I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to try to go there, but I'm not. I'm going to try to fly high enough that
Well, it's more about entering the
I'm not.
hospital will probably get you attacked, not flying high overhead. To seeing the
Oh,
hospital is
okay.
one thing. Entering it to see if there's anything of use still in it is something completely other. So, do you enter it, or do you return
Yes.
back to? Oh, you enter it.
Yeah, I enter.
Do you land a few blocks away and walk in, or do you fly to like part of the building and then enter?
I fly to one of the rooftop of one of the buildings that the hospital has, and then enter through the top.
Okay. It's not hard for you to enter because your suit you can easily any lock doors on the roof you can easily open. And as you're moving through the hospital, you can see that at one point there was people here. But now you're finding signs that people were attacked by ants.
Okay.
Uh, like lots of signs on certain areas, you can see signs where people tried to put up a fight, but due to uh, the stingers that were launched still stuck in some of the stuff, you can tell, and the lack of people can tell that these people lost their fight. Uh, and because you're in ant territory, I'm assuming you're not using the radar because that always seems to get their
Nope.
attention. You need to roll me
Nope. I'm
a
not.
normal perception check, so you still have that +5. You just don't have the radar to support you at the moment.
Okay. Hold on.
As you're moving through, coming from one of the rooms, you can hear some movement. Like something may have moved
Okay.
something. Do you A,
Okay.
investigate, or B, um, decide not to risk it and start to vacate?
Um. Is it what type of room is it? That is there any markings on what type it is?
It
Is it like a
you are pretty sure it's one of the almost said maternity ward. It's not a maternity ward. It's a recovery ward.
All right. Oh shit.
So I said you can enter in and investigate, or you can not risk it, since you do know the fact that there's a chance that it might be an ant, and vacate.
Yeah. Uh, I'm gonna go ahead and take a chance and investigate. I'm gonna go in, but know I'm gonna have my everything ready to go to get the hell out of Dodge.
Okay, you're able to open the door. And as you're looking
I'm
around,
gonna take it slow and even.
but as you're scanning the room, you see a bunch of knocked out blood stains and stuff. It just look like there has been some carnage through here. But nothing immediately shouts out at you. But you can see on one of the beds that there appears to be a medical kit, a
Okay.
backpack that looks open, that looks like it
Oh, what?
possibly
I'm
has
sorry.
some food sticking out of it.
Okay. What did you? What I didn't catch. I caught the medical kit.
A backpack
But what?
that's open
Okay,
with
backpack.
what looks like, from what you
Okay.
can tell, some might have food in it on one of the beds.
Okay. Um, I go over, making sure that I see everything. I take the medical kit and I
Got
scrape
ya.
whatever is. Huh? I know you did.
Right as pretty much as you're getting to the bed, because you can easily tell, it's like, yay, that's a medical kit, and that is definitely some food in there. You do get to do your dodge, but because you're being caught off guard, it's only at half value, so you only get a +4 to this. Because something is using a range attack on you. And I'm
Okay.
pretty sure it definitely hit you. Okay, you got hit. You do get a toughness effect, toughness roll, so you do get a +12. Oh, you lucky SOB. Um, just like as you get there, in your back, you can, just even though you pass it, you still can feel that a sharp, piercing pain hits you in the back, and you do feel the fact that you got lucky because you got shot in the back by an ant.
Okay.
Because you can easily look back, and there's a roughly about 7 foot long ant with its tail reared up somewhat from behind a boom. Thing you can notice about this ant is it seems to be employing active camouflage. You walked straight by it and didn't see it until it decided to attack. And at this moment, you can hear movement from the hallway, implying that there's more ants inbound.
Okay. Um, I'm gonna try to find my way out without. I'm gonna try to, see if I can fly through at top speed to go through whatever wall or whatever I
The
can get
window
out
that's
of.
right there,
Huh?
like the window
Yeah,
that's right
that's right there.
conveniently right there.
Yeah.
You can bust out the
Yeah,
window and
I'm
start
going.
flying away.
Yeah.
You have successfully
Yeah.
escaped the trap, but unfortunately, they sprung it before you were able to actually get that medical kit or that bag of food.
Yeah. Well, I figured that.
Yeah. Do you
I
rapidly
kind of
head back
figured
to
it would.
base?
Yeah, I head back to base.
Yeah. Around this time,
rapidly.
you guys can all be back at base. Which for the most part, the party isn't down at the sea base. They're up at the hangar where Techno is. Techno, do you inform them that you've been shot in the back by an ant?
Yep.
Yeah. What is your
All right,
guys'
hey guys.
I'm sorry. I got shot in the back.
No, sorry, not Techno. All I'm confusing
Yeah,
my
you
tech
got
heroes.
shot in the back.
All Strike was shot in the back.
Yeah, I tell them that I went to Gotham General, and there seems to be a blood. The survivor. There was no survivors there. Looks like the ants have basically taken base in the hospital, and I got shot in the back while trying to find out if there was any survivors. But there are some medical supplies and that there, but I don't know how much or what. No, that's in the people in Gotham's tower. Low, they're in scavenging, but they're slowly um, having trouble with food and water and medical supplies. They're not dire in the sense of where anybody is sick or anything, but they're getting there. And there's over 100 survivors, not an exact number, but there's about 100 survivors there. So that's how my day's been. So how's yours?
7-inch ant and be like, take a look at our.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Techno, you there?
Yeah, I just said I'm gonna hold up a 7-inch ant and be like, here, take a look at our friend.
Oh, okay. Oh, and by the way, can somebody pull this ant dart out of my back while I go and see what's going on?
So who wants
Hold
to
that
do
thought.
the tech check to remove that stinger?
Got it.
And you do have your little ant with you, correct?
Yeah, that's what he said.
Yeah.
I do.
You can easily go to back of his armor. You can pull it off, and then you realize something. Your little ant seems to be attracted to the stinger.
Oh, I'm gonna give my little ant the stinger then.
Yeah. It doesn't like eat it or bite it, but it definitely beats it with its antenna a bit. Stares at for a moment, and then looks at All Strike's back, and then looks at you.
Put the ant on his back.
It investigates the wound, well, the where the stinger was, and then looks at you.
What do you gotta do, little buddy?
Looks at where it was, looks at stinger, looks at you, and just repeats like it's trying to communicate something, but it can't speak. And because of what it is, it doesn't have the proper mental facilities for technically Ren to even communicate with it.
Is Ren back at the base by chance?
Yeah, she's right there with your Jane sequencer.
Yeah, Ren, could you try to communicate with our little buddy here?
You can technically try to do images, but actual words is going to be the problem. But technically, images I can permit.
I'm gonna inspect the wound.
The injury to the armor, the wound itself seems to be a pretty efficient injury. So in fact, you know that his battle suit can withstand, pretty much ignore low caliber ammunition. Pretty much, if it does 5 or less ranks, well, not 5 or less ranks because it's rounded down. If it does 4 or less ranks in damage, it ignores it. This injury appears to almost go completely through the suit, as if the suit hadn't have done its job properly, it would have started digging into his back. And then if someone hits you, that the stinger has little barbs attached to it to help it stay in. Ren, what images are you going to try to get from the tiny ant? Questions are being answered because I like answering. Well, not necessarily to all questions, but I do like. Boop, boop. Wow, that must be a very, very long question. Uh, I wouldn't necessarily say formic acid because there was no additional damage dealt to the area.
Okay.
But Senor, I read a lot. I mean, I've been reading a lot about ants, and the parties had to deal with a lot of ants. Why do you think the ant would be attracted to the to the stinger that you have in your hand, and possibly his wound on the armor?
I'm gonna guess it had a pheromone on it for tracking purposes.
You would be correct.
We're about to get invaded by ants, aren't we?
And he flew all the way back home, leaving a pheromone trail.
Cool. So I'm just gonna take All Strike and eject him from the base.
We're just gonna throw you in the ocean real quick.
Sleep gas I wanted in the elevator. This is the perfect reason.
Yeah.
The ant, the big whole thing that the ants, well, yeah, you can't, and you know where to get vinegar too. The ant's big thing is, it the chemicals, the pheromones. It's definitely picking up foreign ant pheromones. Strong pheromones.
Okay.
So, are you guys gonna go quickly rush to go get a bunch of vinegar?
Yep.
You guys can all rush to start getting the vinegar.
Yes. Or I could take a fly off.
That would also be smart. But do you
I'm
fly
gonna
back
I'm
into
gonna
the
fly off.
city or just start flying over the ocean?
Flying over the ocean.
While the rest go rushing into the city to get a bunch of vinegar to depheromone
Oh,
the
to
base.
deferment. Yeah.
Um,
I'll.
well,
I
one,
mean, I'll come. I just figured it'd be better for me to leave right this second instead of hanging around anymore.
well,
Yeah, no,
you
we still have to depheromone the base though. You tracked it right into the base.
Yeah, I understand. I did.
unintentionally. I love ants. No, but I said you guys can all fly off. As you guys are with those who went in the city to it, does it said doesn't take you very long to get to the stores that have ammonia or well not ammonia but have vinegar and like light vinegar bombs. Just you guys can spread out and get a bunch of it. Um, on your way back, because this is relatively easy to notice, you guys can see the equivalent of a flying tank of an ant already ahead of you, heading towards the hangar. As in, they didn't send a swarm of ants to follow the trail. They sent their biggest flying ant.
Okay. Is are we able to fly faster than it?
The only person who can fly faster than it is All Strike. It moves at the same speed, both for that you, Shiro, and Ren move.
You guys let me know that it's coming back.
Now,
No, you just need to keep flying.
now there's a
I was going to
chance that it doesn't
say,
wreck the base looking for him. There's a chance.
okay.
Not necessarily the biggest of chances, but there's still a chance that it does not destroy the base. Well, destroy the base. Start messing stuff up. Are you going to mentally blast it? You want to take some of your vinegar and use your telekinesis to get vinegar on its face? Okay, you can technically you can make that attempt. You do have a whopping +10 because you're not trying to damage it. You're just trying to hit it in the face. Does your I love your grab, but it's not necessarily going to help you with this. It is technically unaware of you coming up behind it to do that. I almost rolled the wrong thing. So it's only getting half of its dodge. You manage to crack it in its face. You can see it, guys. It pretty much rapidly slows down. It's rapidly shaking its head. You can hear it making all sorts of noises. And after a moment, you can see it pretty much look down directly at the water, and then it just dives directly into the water and disappears underneath the waves. Implying that the vinegar did agitate it, and it's going to be using the water to get it off, but you guys just bought yourself time to get to the base and vinegar everything to remove the pheromones.
we get back to the base, I'm going to, after I'm done spreading all my vinegar, I'm going to run into the containment center and grab two of the small jars of blob.
Yeah. And you run outside with them.
Uh-huh.
Okay. What you able
I
to
know, I
get?
know you told me I'm going to be labeled a villain, but if that giant fucker is coming back, I'm going to use it.
Yes, yes, you can because your telekinesis. Everything's definitely vinegared. Smells like vinegar. And after a while, not too far from the base because it is on part of an island thing. You can see the ant walk up on shore. Someone do the shake thing. You see its antennas going. Someone just looks at the base. Doesn't go near the base, but goes to. Someone walks off, and you notice that someone just stops. You see it stretch its wings out, and it seems to be basking in the sun, like it's trying to dry out its wings. But it is currently not going towards the vinegar smelling base. Allstrike isn't back yet. But when he does, you can definitely hit him with white vinegar. But you have successfully ruined the chemical trail it needs to follow him while making sure the base smells like something it doesn't want to go near. Uh, but after about a half hour, you can see it uh, take off in the sky. You can see it just hover around a little bit, kind of like it's just scanning the area before it just starts heading back towards the city. Meaning you guys can get Allstrike back. Do you guys inform him that he can start heading back now? Okay, yeah, this Ren is on that. Not too long later, he's able to get back, and you guys are able to white vinegar his suit. Uh, and around this time, Almighty Techno, your blob grenades, you can tell because the jars move a little bit, that both the little blobs in it that are taking the form of rats are highly mobile and definitely want out, but can't seem to get through the glass.
Go ahead and put them back in storage.
Yeah, you have successfully avoided the catastrophe that could have happened because that ant would have there would have been a chance that it would have busted into the containment area to try to figure out what's there, which would have messed things up and or released some of the blob. You guys didn't have to fight a literal flying tank that's the size of an F-16. So you
Jacob, I would like to start working maliciously on a new project. I would like to make a gigantic cryo bomb.
so you want to start copying uh, that can be a project you can start working on for some sort of cryo weapon. Um, and Ren is making an inquiry about your aunt. Do you go looking for your aunt, Techno? Uh, as you're looking for it, this last you saw it was before you guys took off to go get the vinegar because it was on the back of All Strike. It is not on Allstrike. You cannot find it anywhere in or around the hangar or on the abandoned Coast Guard base. Where do you expand your look?
Quarters. My quarters.
You can easily get in the elevator, roll it down, run through the Marine base. You can get to your room, and hiding in its aquarium is your aunt. As it hits you, you still have the scent of vinegar on you.
Turn and walk back out of the room since I know where it's at.
Because ants don't like vinegar. Um, so you have traumatized your aunt. That also hit you that it's smart enough to know how to get back to its aquarium from the surface.
Smart little bastard.
I'll take after Daddy.
Damn right.
What's his name?
Yeah, I didn't establish that.
Oh, okay.
Ren is giving everyone a nice, quick dusting of baking soda to help with the vinegar stuff and any other randomness because baking soda is weird like that. But given enough time, you guys are able to get yourselves clean. And she is typing. Type away with your little hands. Tappity tap type. Type type. Okay, it neutralizes the vinegars. Yeah, so any of the vinegar stuff on the party or where you guys need to be, the baking soda neutralizes the vinegar. So you guys can
If we're
successfully.
not careful, though, you can actually kill people with vinegar and baking soda because it releases a chemical that substitutes the air out. So you need to air out the base.
Yep, but thank God you guys have someone who's high ranks in science for that. But you guys can end the day knowing that Ellsworth Building has people in it. The people that were in Foul Gerwald Tower have been moved to St. Luke's Hospital for medical treatment. Uh, and that Gotham Tower apartments are still standing. That ends, you're able to see an obvious degree of intelligence in these ants. Before we officially leave, before we officially end this episode, Techno, are you going to do your science check, which also is a plus 20, with the gene sequencer to see what's up with the ant?
Sure. Let's get that out of the way. Not gonna lie, I almost rolled that with a plus 200. We would have had a two. That would have been a little bit higher than it should have been.
A little bit? 180 points higher than it should be.
That's all right. Potato, potato.
We can do math. It does take a couple hours for it to actually work properly because it has to sequence that out and run the stuff there. But according to that, your ant that does that you assumed was a honeypot ant does have a high. It seems does match to be high degree of honeypot ant, but it also has DNA traces for 50 other species of ants.
Honeypot's just the dominant trait.
Yeah, that's just the dominant gene. Uh,
Oh yeah.
what did you put? Yeah, GMO ants. Um, you can also tell from it that there is several unknown compounds still running in its system that you can pretty sure is some form of mutagen, giving it some form of highly adaptive trait. Meaning, the
I'm
reason
gonna.
why it's probably has certain traits of the bullet ants is because you took it away from the hive. Therefore, it needed traits to better protect itself, which means the exposure to vinegar will also probably make other traits more dominant, making it more resistant to chemical weapons.
I'm doing it in the next episode.
Yeah. Uh, there's also growth accelerants you can find in the sample.
Question is whether or not if this is done because of the hive itself, or if it's being done by some other means or other factors.
But there is a very good chance now, due to you removing it from the hive and, well, from its nest, and causing it to have very violent environmental conditions trigger, that it's going to end up being bigger than a normal honeypot.
Queen.
Most likely not a queen, because it's wrong set of things, but definitely other ant traits are going to come in that will make it bigger. Because remember, honeypots aren't normally very big ants, so there's a good chance that by the time it actually reaches actual adulthood, you're going to have a bigger ant that's no longer classified as a honeypot.
Right.
Uh, but also at that note, we have officially hit the episode timer. You guys have got stuff done. Because you captured the slime, which is the first opponent the party has actually technically captured. You were able to get some neat stuff done at the base, while also um, figuring out some of reasons why the ants are so good at what they're doing right now. But we are going to call the episode to end here. So for all those that watch us, thank you for watching. Remember to like and subscribe. And we will see you next week for more Nightmares of Future Past.